Welcome to the Beasts of the NFC East podcast. I am your host, Sean Michael Gnitzcavich, with my co-host, Jeremy Goode. And Jeremy Goode, I am depressed. And I am dressed for a funeral. The funeral of the Giants' hopes and dreams. Because they have died. It's abysmal. Watching the Giants. Honestly, that game was actually pretty fun, considering we had, record terrible performances. Meanwhile, the Washington Eagles game was a lot more exciting than expected, just like it was the last time they faced each other this season. And the Cowboys were dominant in all four phases of the game against the Rams. But I was watching my Giants flop miserably. Although there was so much hope. I felt like we were going to win the game. Jeremy, do you have anything to say before we get into these exciting Week 8 matchups?
Great week. Great win for some. Brutal loss for others. Let's get into it.
Well, since I'm dressed like this, I might as well start with the miserable failings of the New York Giants. In the MetLife Bowl, or as some New Yorkers and fans are calling it, the Jet Life Bowl, the Jets beat the Giants in an atrocious but actually very exciting 13-10 win in overtime. A game that I felt like the Giants were going to win almost the entire game, despite the fact that we lost Tyrod Taylor in the first half, and we're stuck with our undrafted free agent, who's been our third-string quarterback all season, Tommy DeVito. Let's get into this. Jeremy, I don't know if you looked at any numbers. How many passing yards do you think the Giants had this game? Don't even look. I want to know.
I know. Well, there was a bit I wanted to do, but you guys had about 7.
Yep. Actually, and if you include the sacks.
In 2023. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. If you include the sacks, I think our passing yards was -9. If you include this.
Which is, in a way, it's kind of a silly stat, but yes, no doubt that you're the negatives there. Interesting enough.
Yeah, and we were sacked 3.5 times, even though we only, actually more than that. We were sacked 4 times, and we only dropped back 14 times. That's like getting sacked on a third of oh my god, more than a third of those, a little less than a third, but it's just. It was all right. Let's break this down. Let's start with the quarterback play. Yes, it was another rainy day at MetLife. Yikes, dude! Even I'm saying it, man. That didn't stop Zach Wilson from having 240 passing yards. Meanwhile, Tyrod Taylor, before he got injured, only had 8 passing yards. 8 passing yards. One of them was a 5-yard pass to Darren Waller, who got injured on that play. 4 yards. I correct you, 4 yards, which was the longest passing play of the day, as you would assume. Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is legendarily a terrible game. Meanwhile, our defense played amazing. As good of a game as I could have asked for. Of course, they let up at the end. Until the end, they were actually the Jets were 0 for 13 on third down attempts, and 2 of those, at least maybe 2 or 3, I remember, were 3rd and 1s. And still 0 for 13. They actually didn't complete a third down conversion until overtime when it mattered, and that hurt. So, for those of you guys who don't know, who weren't watching the game, here's a little overview. Giants start off great. Kayvon Thibodeau gets a nice strip sack, gives the Giants the ball. We get 3 and out, but we're in field goal range because he strip sacks Zach Wilson. Jihad Ward recovers it. This is to start the game. Good start. Get some points on the board. Bam. Field goal by Gano. The only field goal that would be made by Gano.
Right.
because there were 2 more attempts in this game, and one was 30. One was like 25, and one was like 41. 2 field goals that are automatic for Graham Gano, except I guess he is injured and he's kicking through injury. So Brian Daboll, I understand it's 4th and 1. We're on our 20-yard line. We put up these points. We essentially make the Jets have to score a touchdown to beat us. So I get it. You want to kick the field goal. It's 4th and 1. We've been running nonstop. They knew that we were running. I don't know if you know this either, Jeremy, but Tommy DeVito, the legend, the preseason legend, the one, like, we've had Tyrod Taylor as our quarterback for 3 straight weeks with only one other quarterback behind him, Tommy DeVito. If you are the Giants and you have no faith in Tommy DeVito, where you don't even trust him to pass the ball, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't pass the ball at all in the second half. He tried in the first half before, like, going into it, and then they're like, you know what, we're just gonna. We literally only ran the ball for the entire second half, and then because we're like, okay, well, we're in the lead, so it's gonna be fine. Tommy DeVito had a beautiful rushing touchdown. His probably only touchdown he'll ever score in his NFL career, because I think this performance right here maybe sealed the fact that I don't think he will ever start again in the NFL. And I'm sorry, send him back to the practice squad if you want, if you really like the guy, but, like, why does he have a roster spot to be a backup quarterback if you don't trust him to throw the ball? And the passes that he did attempt, like, were you telling him to only try to pass it behind the line of scrimmage? Because he only had one completion. It was for, or 2 completions. One of them was for, like, no yards to Saquon, and the other one was -1 yards to Darius Slayton. Like, when we need, it's just, I just don't get it. But Saquon ran hard, like, respect. Saquon deserves the bag. Honestly, he does, because they knew he was running each time, and he was running against a pretty good Jets front. Like, he was running over to get, like, a hard 3-4 yards over Quinnen Williams. Ended the game with 128 rushing yards, literally our only offense. I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson had a couple of end rounds at the beginning, which I was kind of excited about. But, I mean, I'm not going to get excited about 17 rushing yards from Wan'Dale Robinson. Like, not with how terrible this performance was. But that was – some people are really upset that Daboll tried kicking it to make it a touchdown game. And I am, only because Graham Gano's leg was hurt. Like, he missed that last one miserably, you know?
You just need a yard, too.
We just needed a yard.
The game's over.
Yeah. And then you could run it out, too. Like, yeah. And that's when Zach Wilson really wanted to wake up. And he had back-to-back 29-yard passes to get them in the field goal range. Some things to note here. Let's some fun stats from this game that, like, is pretty abysmal. There's a lot of injuries in this game. The Jets lost both their centers. They were down to their
early
third
on,
string.
too.
Yeah, early on. So they were on their 3rd string center. And I remember them even saying, the announcers saying, I feel like it's a bigger deal that the Jets have a 3rd string center than the Giants having Tommy DeVito, which honestly I thought at first. Until we actually had to rely on Tommy DeVito to throw the ball, which he could not do. No, nor did we trust him.
Yeah, quite wrong.
Yeah, Dexter Lawrence had a record day. Sorry, I need this, man. Record day.
It's straight bourbon, ladies and gentlemen, by the way. That's a full...
This is typically what I drink to deal with my pain. Just a whole thing of bourbon. Just... Oh, yes. But he... Actually, let me pull up these stats. I had them going up. So he had a 40% pass rush win rate versus the Jets, which is just crazy. 3 times higher than Leonard Williams, who had a pretty good one too, with a 14.3. But you're going against the backup center. But still, like, you have to dominate when you have that. I mean,
no doubt.
He had a sack, nice sack. 10 pressures. I was going to say, Dexter Lawrence was in there almost all the time. And honestly, Zach Wilson did get a couple of good balls off, even when he was getting pressured, which was kind of impressive. 4 quarterback hits. And also, Dexter Lawrence, this is both from Bobby Skinner from Talking Giants. Dexter Lawrence leads defensive tackles for combined sacks, hits, and pressures with 44 this year. And he's first in pass rush win rate among 94 defensive tackles with 100 pass snaps at 22.5%, which is good. It's good to see.
Was the first
yeah.
Was the first stat, was that for anybody on the D line or just defensive tackles?
That was just defensive tackles.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Kayvon Thibodeau also had probably his best performance ever as a Giant. Like I said, he got that strip sack in the beginning to get, which put the Giants on the board, start the Giants off right. He had 3 sacks. One of them I thought was game sealing. Like that last sack that he has.
Turnover on downs.
It's a turnover on downs, and it's 20 yards. Like brings up 20. Well, yeah, and that essentially should have sealed the game for us. I thought, bam, that's it. There's a minute left, but no, the Giants can't do anything, and we have that 4th and 1. Also, Saquon Barkley, when he got tackled 1 yard short, I felt like he still had it. I think that and Tommy DeVito did something similar this game too, where he ran and he slid like a yard early when he could have just he could have gotten it. I get it. You're new, but dude, just get that yard. Get that
right. Especially too, I think I don't know if it's just college. Wherever you start the slide, I think that's where they mark you down.
Yeah.
It's not where you land. So that's probably a yard and a half for a lot of players.
Yeah. I mean, that was just yeah, but Kayvon Thibodeau, great. He had 3 sacks. Pretty sure he had 6 QB hits, and he also had 3 tackles for loss too. So and that was in the run game. We really did a good job against Breece Hall. Aside from that, 50-yard reception, he only ran the ball for 17 yards, averaging 1.4. We bottled him up, and nobody else really. Dalvin Cook had 5 yards rushing. Michael Carter had 2 yards rushing. I mean, we held them in the run game. Our defense, I thought, played great. Obviously, Breece Hall had that 50-yard touchdown in the middle of the first half, which was just sad to see. But other than that, we were, aside from that play and then the overtime, which the overtime too, it's not there was a 70 or a 50-yard pass interference on Adoree Jackson, which put them in that field goal range.
Yes,
it's just, I mean, that can't happen. That cannot happen. Another thing, Deonte Banks, so he played against Garrett Wilson in college.
Yes.
And Ohio State put up, I think, 70 points on Maryland. So Deonte Banks asked Wink Martindale to follow Garrett Wilson, which he did. He followed him. He was on the outside. When he was in the slot, he followed him on the slot. There was a fun stat that in man coverage, Deonte Banks, through the first 7 weeks of the season, has only let up 61 yards. And then against Garrett Wilson, just in man coverage, he allowed 71, just in one game. And he obviously allowed 7 catches for 100 receiving yards.
He only allowed in man coverage. He's only let up 61 yards until yesterday.
Yes, that's in man coverage. In zone, he's obviously let up other. But
what receivers has he gone up to that are good? Out of curiosity.
Let's go through the schedule here. I mean, he did pretty well against Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, something that I can't say about your quarterbacks.
We'll get to them. Yeah, it's an interesting stat.
I mean,
nonetheless,
he's played well.
It depends on how. Yeah, it depends how they view how they actually how they defended him, how they stagger him, and how they rule on certain stuff like that. Yeah, he had 2 pass interferences that were brutal.
Yeah, only one of them was
Garrett Wilson.
I mean, that one that he had, he fell, when he was covering.
Right.
Yeah, he was draping Garrett Wilson on that other one too.
Yeah, they didn't need to. Right. It was. Yeah, I thought the Giants were going to win when they went up 10-7 for 3 reasons.
Yeah.
1, Giants defense has been playing very well.
Yep.
2, weather. I think that affected the Jets, and I don't think when you're down. Even though they kind of had success throwing the ball for what you think, I still don't think they were going to come back. Mm-hmm. And 3, the Jets' offense is awful.
Yeah.
And the Eagles have lost to the Jets. They didn't lose to us because of the Jets' offense. The other reasons, the Jets just have an awful, awful offense.
Yeah.
And it's really a shame because the Giants played great defensively for the entire game, except the last possession in regulation and then in overtime. It really is a shame because they came to play, and there's just a few too many moments where the defense wasn't able to hold on ultimately.
Yeah, it's just man, Man, that hurts. The Graham Gano, like, I'll tell you what, and then, like, Jamie Gillian, too, I think that might have been, I know that Greg Gano was hurt, but I saw, like, the way he was holding it. Jamie Gillian punted terribly for a game that Brian Daboll kept on saying was about position. Thomas Morstead, bro, give that guy's definitely getting special teams player of the week. I mean, he punted within the 5 yards, but within the 5-yard line, like, I think 3 times that game, dude. Like,
it makes a difference. He's also good. Yeah, he's one of the better ones. Yeah,
I think he's like 36, dude. Like, he's been doing it for a minute, but he is good.
Right.
Jamie Gillian, honestly, dude, cut him. I don't care. Like, he has not impressed me. The Scottish Hammer, it's a sick name. I really don't care. I mean, you like Tommy DeVito so much, put him on punter, dude, if you really want to keep him on the roster. Like, that's the thing. Like, Joe Schoen, and I think that's one of the most, like, everybody wanted to praise Joe Schoen. Like, he traded for Isaiah Simmons before the season started. Everybody's like, oh my God, crown him. He has Darren Waller too. Like, dude, yeah, he made some like good trades on paper. Isaiah Simmons really hasn't done anything. I mean, he had like one tackle for a loss. He also had a penalty on special teams last game too.
And it should be noted that he didn't do anything in Arizona too, which to me, like, it wasn't a bad. They didn't give up much for him, but it's like, if you want to trade for a guy like Isaiah Simmons, it's not just that you have to do something to help him become better. It's not just situationally. I think that's where, the Giants are just like, let's try to get talent here. Let's try to not to cost that much with guys like Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah.
You got to develop. They haven't been good in the NFL for a reason.
Yeah. And, like, I think that he's been well situationally, but, like, I mean, dude, Micah McFadden, who had that best grade out of any linebacker last week, he had another great game, too. He had that nice fumble recovery, which gave us the ball. Like, that was the first snap. I think their third string center snapped, and Micah McFadden just, like, jumped over Zach Wilson to get that ball, which was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And that was one of the missed field goals right there, because we had it in the red zone too, and like just missed field goal. But what I was getting back to about Joe Schoen, just this roster management. Like, we had two tight ends on the active roster. Why do we need to have like 6 running backs activated? We had 2 tight ends. We lose Darren Waller. We need to run the ball the entire game, and we only have Daniel Bellinger. It's like, that doesn't help us at all. And they kept on putting Daniel Bellinger, bringing him in to play more of like a fullback. But yeah, like, on top of that, what's going on with Tommy DeVito? If you don't trust him to throw the ball in the game, why has he been our backup quarterback behind injury-prone Tyrod Taylor for 3 games?
That's a good point.
Carson Wentz, I guess, hit us up and wanted, like, I don't care. Pay him as a backup. Like,
seriously,
I don't know, man. I don't know. But good news.
You got to give yourself a.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just good news. Daniel Jones, miraculously has been cleared after yesterday. They said he's having trouble feeling on his left side for the neck injury. Now he's cleared for practice, for contact, and will probably start next week against the Raiders. Miraculously, right after Tyrod Taylor goes down, and we need him. It's very strange, but yesterday he could barely feel his arm, and now he's A-okay.
Yeah, I don't get it. Today, the NFL, with the forward pass fully established, more, throwing the football is the biggest motion, biggest event in sports, in all sports combined. It's just that the quarterback's the most paid player ever. To put in someone like DeVito is just asinine. You put in Carson Wentz, put in someone like that. Matt Barkley, I know that you guys worked him out.
Yeah.
They're not good quarterbacks, but they kind of give you a chance, and we would have
been able to win this game. Yeah. Anybody that could actually pass the ball competently and know how to slide at the 10-yard mark, not be a yard short. Man. And I was rooting for him, I really was rooting for him. Like, the Giants fans are even screaming, let it pass the ball, And I was like, yeah, dude, honestly, I want to see it. But, Bobby Okereke had another great game. I know he had like 3 tackles for loss again. Like, I guess he was watching C.J. Mosley's film while he played for the Ravens under Wink Martindale. And that's when C.J. Mosley was like the best linebacker in the league. and like that helped it click. But Bobby Okereke's been playing like a all-pro linebacker this year. So I mean, it just the only thing. The trade deadline's what, Wednesday? This episode Tuesday. So tomorrow, when this episode is out, well, maybe Adoree gets moved. I don't know. I think if anybody gets moved for us, it's probably Adoree, and I think Giants fans are probably pretty pissed about that pass interference. But I will tell you this though, Gunnar Schletzky too. One more note, unless you want to get into the trade deadline with Adoree.
No, not at all. It's just go ahead with Gunnar.
Gunnar, dude. I mean, hey, we signed him. He's wearing number 80. Looks good. Legendary number for the Giants. Jeremy Shockey, Victor Cruz, Gunnar Schletzky. Which he got cut for Buffy. I'll tell you what, he looked like a returner. It's just like, you think if I told you that the Giants lost because of special teams woes, it'd be the continuance of poor kick returns and punt returns. But he looked good. And he actually returned. He had 56 yards on 6 returns. I mean, he looked good. Like, I think one of them was like a 17-yard or 2 or something. But he looked good. It's nice we figured that out. Only halfway through the season, figured out somebody who can catch a kick return, which is pretty. If you're returning kicks, you should be able to catch them. So it only took 3 muffs from our good guy Eric Gray to realize that maybe we should have somebody else back there. 3 muffs. Nice. I think that's all I have to say. Is there anything else you want to say about the Giants team? I mean, like, we have the 4th pick in the NFL right now. A bunch of losers won. The Panthers won.
Yeah, I just want to run by the stats for the Giants receiving core. Darren Waller, 1 catch, 4 yards.
Yep, I know. Mm-hmm.
Matt Breida, 1 catch, 4 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley, 3 catches, 0 yards.
Yep.
Daniel Bellinger.
Yep, keep going.
Daniel Bellinger, 0 catches, 0 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson, 0 catches, 0 yards.
A couple of good reverses, though.
Yes. Darius Slayton, 1 catch, -1 yards. I don't think I've ever seen a stat like that, ever.
-9 net passing yards, too, with the sacks.
Right.
Just crazy. Jermaine Johnson, second-year player for the Jets, who was a first-round pick for them last year. He had 2 sacks. He also had, like, a couple of late hits. I think he forced, like, 2 penalties from late hits. Yeah, so good for you, Jermaine Johnson. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the Jets were I think they had, like, 120 penalty yards, too. But, I mean, that doesn't matter. Yeah, like, that didn't matter at the end with the pass interferences and everything. Like they were giving the Giants so many opportunities, but when we could have been 3-5, now we're 2-6, and that was a game that we kind of needed, and a game that I thought that we had. So just abysmal, just so sad, so sad.
Still getting a wild card spot though, Giants.
Listen, man, we still could. Okay, I am wearing this funeral suit, but dude, listen, if Daniel Jones comes back, Andrew Thomas comes back, the defense keeps playing the way it is, I think that we're like, I mean, this is what we've allowed in the past 3 games, right? It was 14 to the Bills.
Yes.
What was it? 10 to the Commanders and 13.
Yes.
13 to the Jets. Yeah, I mean, our defense has been stout. Yeah, it's been good. But when the Giants can only score barely 10 points, it doesn't really help very much. So,
no doubt.
That is that. Yep. Well, I think that's enough time on how miserable the Giants are. Let's move. You wanna hop into your Eagles? I'll let you take the floor. I think I've said enough about my Giants.
Another week, another win. I'll just say, I don't know why Sam Howell's Tom Brady when he plays us. He is. Yep. It's quite fun. It's not fun to watch, but it's hysterical how absurdly good he is against us. The game was not as close as it should have been, or as the score was said. The Eagles were up 14 with 2 minutes left, and they gave up a garbage time touchdown. Mm-hmm. They also had scored a garbage time touchdown, but yeah, there's something. I like the Eagles' defense as a whole, where they don't let anything behind you, mm-hmm. but they'll give up some stuff up front a little early. Gave up a touchdown to start the game. Bad note. it sort of put them on their heels the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
They're not aggressive enough. Ultimately, they didn't make enough adjustments on defense in the second half. Although they still played better in the second half. Like the defense was actually, they only gave up like 7 points in the second half, not including the garbage time touchdown, which I wouldn't. So they picked it up a little bit. Secondary play was just horrendous. Darius Slay wasn't great. Bradbury was pretty awful. Reed Blankenship wasn't great, and then he had an interception, which made it a lot better. But he was awful for most of the game. Kevin Byard getting his feet wet, had several tackles. Not necessarily a good thing because a lot of them were downfield. But I guess if you don't tackle, maybe they score touchdowns. So he just got here, not concerned about his play.
Yeah.
Nothing in the middle of the field. The Kobe team played great, and they kept on taking him out. And then when they would take him out, the middle of the field was always open, which was stupid.
Why is what
pressure,
they just wanted to like?
I don't know. They're weird. Yeah, they run 3 linebackers: him, Nicholas Morrow, Zach Cunningham. Cunningham's been okay throughout the year. Morrow had a big game with those 3 sacks. Otherwise, as a linebacker, hasn't been that great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they keep on taking Dean out. I think they're scared of with his health. Yeah. I get it. He's kind of been, he's hurt. He was hurt for like a good 4 weeks after week 1. So I think they might need a little more help there. Defensive line wasn't great. They got some pressure, but they weren't really getting to Hal at all. And he's a guy. I'll tell you what.
Most sacked quarterback, and you guys got 1 sack. A very important sack.
Very timely, so that was good. But it was at the end, and so it was important. But you want a little more. But it was also a reflection that the pressure just wasn't there this week like it usually is. It was okay-ish, but not great. Yeah. If you give Sam Howell time, he will make every pass. I'm not kidding when I say that. He's every real defense has decided has shown who he really is, except us. AJ Brown, phenomenal, of course. This guy he's
breaking record. Like everybody, the debate today on every single morning show is who is the best receiver in the league. Is it AJ Brown or is it Tyreek Hill? I think Tyreek Hill is on pace for over 2,000 yards. He broke 1,000 yards, which has never been done the first 8 weeks of the season. But
AJ's about 70 yards short or 60 yards short right now.
But AJ Brown has broke a record for the first time that a player has had over 125 receiving yards with 6 in a row.
Yeah, I think the consistency. I'm not here to measure Tyreek Hill is a cheat code.
Yeah.
If you can give me the consistency, I think I'm taking AJ Brown. I'm not upset with Tyreek Hill. I know Justin Jefferson is hurt. Yeah. He's a different cat too. These guys are just freaks. But it's been. The wide receiver play. Won its games yesterday.
Yeah.
AJ 2 touchdowns, 130 yards. Devontae 100 yards, a touchdown on broken coverage.
Yep.
Julio had one over the middle.
I saw that, dude. It was nice to see Julio
thrown. Yeah. Right. And that would be nice, too, for the Eagles to have, he's definitely wide receiver 3 because Quez is awful.
Yeah.
Olamide Zaccheaus hasn't really done much since, the Tampa Bay game, which he was nice, but, he's a nice little player. It's not really translating since his Atlanta days. It would be nice if you had Julio in the middle of the field with that size to, give you some check down stuff, some downfield stuff, 15, 20 yards downfield. So that was nice to see. They ran the ball with DeAndre Swift 1 time in the first half. Stupid. I don't even want to process why that made sense. They keep on giving the ball to Kenny Gainwell. He sucks.
know, dude.
He's not a running back. He actually can play out. I think he's a slot receiver.
Yeah.
He's good at catching.
He's good at
running and he's good at running with the ball in space, too. Mm-hmm. He's not a running back. And I won't pretend that he hasn't had success at running back. The last few years, he's been okay as a backup kind of guy, as a running back 3, sometimes running back 2 last year. Mm-hmm. This year, he just doesn't. He doesn't have anything figured out at all. So, they give it to him. He fumbles at the 5. Jalen fumbled at the 1.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a goal. If you're going to run, you're not putting Kenneth Gainwell in that running. You know that they're running.
Right.
you don't put Kenneth Gainwell in that situation. That's what we've talked about. Yeah. Fumbled it. Two rushes for -4 yards.
And I don't even know if I'd want to put Swift in that because you need someone bigger. And Leonard Fournette was just signed by the Bills around an hour.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Who would have been I don't know how much he has left. But yeah, as a specialist,
he was great on the Bucs a couple years back.
No doubt. Yeah. So the Eagles fumbled it twice, one at the 5, one at the 1, and they still somehow won. I give them credit for that, but
that was that tush push. The failed tush push.
That's right. The first time. And
was that more of a Jalen thing, or was that more of a Kelsey snap?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
People are saying they didn't. To me, it looked like he had the ball.
Yeah.
So didn't love that. He's playing through a knee injury. I think a bone bruise. That's not easy. He wasn't able to run. It was nice to see him win a game playing, dropping back in the pocket. And I thought he did that really well, especially in the second half. They make Washington. They play up to competition, and offensively, Bieniemy and Riverboat Ron have done a great job against the Eagles this year. Fortunately, Jack Del Rio's their defensive coordinator, who's been awful against us.
Very bad.
Right. And Washington's secondary is just so bad. Like every week I try to say, Sean, Washington is just a really bad football team, and then they play the Eagles.
Yeah,
they play
I know,
really
dude.
Well. So,
you barely gave me credit for the Giants' win last week, and then look at you guys. Yeah. I mean, like I was telling you yesterday, I wish that I poked fun at you more when you guys were down. Like what? Like
I told you last week. Yeah, it was 17-3 in the second. I told you last week before Giants-Washington, you guys are going to beat Washington because defensively you're a little more aggressive than the Eagles, and Washington, they have nothing for that. And it happened. Washington didn't score. They scored 7 points against you guys.
Yeah.
And, the record still holds. Washington's still an awful team, but they put a great offense against the Eagles twice.
Yeah.
like no one's business. So I guess credit there, but otherwise, their secondary's bad. They're
awful.
Yeah, the receiver group is good. Sam Howell finally came back to life at the end of the fourth quarter, the last 10 minutes of the fourth, where he was finally missing throws.
Yeah.
And then in garbage time, he had an absolute dart for a all of his touchdown passes.
Jamison Crowder, dude, Jamison Crowder, who's like a fringe player on anybody on their team, 7 catches, 95 yards, and that touchdown at the end, which was just he looked good too against you guys. I thought,
Crowder,
Crowder.
Yeah, even that catch was absurd that he had. Turned back the clock.
Yeah.
Every touchdown pass that Sam Howell threw was a dart.
Yeah,
and a great they were all great balls, and I don't know what it is.
Jahan Dodson came back to life too, which is right when I gave up on Jahan. 8 receptions, 108 yards, that nice touchdown, and he looked good. He was when I was looking at the highlights, every single catch that he had, I feel like he had all that separation. He used his ability the way that he's been supposed to. I don't know if it's just Sam Howell's not getting to his read or what, because he was always open. He had that his specialty of yards.
Yeah, Washington did a great job of getting the ball out early, and then if they didn't get the ball out early and the Eagles weren't rushing, he sat comfortably in the pocket and flung the ball with ease throughout the entire game, besides the end, which was nice. But he did good for them.
Good for 400 passing yards. I feel like that. How many does he have in the season now? He has a total of
probably
401. Yeah.
Oh no, we played that twice. I think he's thrown for 750 yards against us.
Oh yeah, just against you guys. Yeah,
that's just wild.
That's crazy.
It's Sam Howell.
Yeah, but
he has some abilities. I don't mean to rip him too badly. He was good at UNC.
Yeah, and you liked him. I know for a fact you liked him. You wanted him at one point.
No, not Hal. I didn't like him that much.
Yeah,
I don't think his size is good enough for his arm talent and just his. I mean, it looks like he can rush a little bit, but he's not dynamic of a runner enough for like his size. So I never liked Sam Howell that much, but I mean he's an NFL quarterback. He's at the very least, and I hate to sound like mean, but like he could be a really nice backup quarterback if he's in that situation. I think it's tough because he has so much talent to throw to on the offense, and it's like, oh, they don't beat good teams, and then most of the games they play like crap on offense. So,
I think with a better O line, like you said, when he has time, like you guys only got one sack on him. Was it a strip sack with Hassan Reddick?
It was not. No.
It was no. I think I'm thinking of.
It could have been maybe he dropped the ball, but maybe
no. You know, I'm thinking of the Micah Parsons strip sack on Matt Stafford.
Got it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But that dude, just one sack against the most sack, like that's where you're. I don't know, like what's going on with your defensive coordinator, but that's just poor planning. Like you see the Giants' success, right? I mean, am I wrong there? Like you see the Giants' success with all these mixed blitzes and whatnot, and you have so many great pass rushers. Like you guys are only the most sacked quarterback on a historic amount, like a historic scale, Sam Howell, and you guys get one sack with your pass rush.
Things did change when Jalen Carter got hurt.
Yeah,
a little back thing, and that made a difference. But still, I mean, it's been a difference between this team compared to last year. This team just doesn't. The pressures are there; they just don't get the sacks that I think they used to.
Yeah.
And that's also like last year they had 70 sacks, which was like top 3, top 4 in NFL history. But like you would think that they'd be able to pile up a few more each game here and there. But you know, like secondary should still be better. Like that's they just give everything. They give everything up front with these receivers.
Yeah,
and it's like before you know it, they're already down the field in field goal range.
Do you think that you'll be investing maybe in the cornerback market, or
I think they will.
I saw the Cowboys were interested in Jalen Johnson from the Bears, who had I think he had 2 or 3 interceptions last week, but he's
Utah guy went there for school. He's a good player. I think the Eagles will look for someone at cornerback. Maybe not somebody who would cost a lot, who's like a premier corner.
Mm-hmm.
They just need more bodies. They have a lot of youth. Eli Ricks has done a really nice job. Coming off the bench here and there. He's still a rookie.
Yeah.
And so like they have some options. I think they want to get a little more veteran like player, especially with Devontae Maddox out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll be in the market for a corner. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The trade deadline is coming up on us. So, I mean, who knows? I don't know if you're checking the Twitter. Maybe something's happening as we speak. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, obviously, at this point of the season, like, and I don't know, for the Commanders, too, I heard that they're actively shopping Montez Sweat and Chase Young.
Yes.
So, I don't know if that's, like, those are 2 great players to build on, in my opinion.
They are.
But I mean,
it's a lot of talent at that position for the trade market or for the trade deadline, no doubt. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't get rid of both. I mean, Chase Young has looked amazing this season, and maybe you
could trade Chase.
Who would you trade if you had to pick one of those 2?
Probably Sweat. I think Chase Young. It's taken a little bit, but I think that he has more star power than Montez Sweat. Yeah. They're both good. I don't know. I would try to figure it out. And not trade either of them, quite frankly.
To be honest, yeah, because like this is what I don't get. Like you're trading, like what the best you're hoping is like a first. Yeah, that's awesome.
You're not going to get that either. I don't think.
I mean, but like those guys are first round talents. That's what I like. I get it, but it's a crapshoot too. The draft, like, like I mean, look what happened with your first round pick this year, Emmanuel Forbes. Like, okay, so what you'd probably be doing with that first round pick is getting another cornerback, which
the Lions did stuff like that when who they traded? They traded Slay to us, and then the following year I think they drafted Okudah.
Yep, they got Jeff Okudah, and he didn't turn out. So like,
no,
that's the thing. Even when like he was like the best, like one of the best prospects, he seemed like a surefire thing, and just atrocious in his career with the Lions. And I honestly. I don't know if he was guarding DeAndre Hopkins yesterday against Will Levis, but I mean, Will Levis looked like a superstar out there, man. Respect, man. Respect. Connecticut guy, dude. And he drinks mayo in his bourbon.
That is true. Yeah, that's also pretty bold.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you got to give Sam Howell his flowers. He looked great. He had that. I mean, the one interception, but I mean,
yeah, that was a really bad pick too. I don't know for a guy who had the game that he did to have. I'd have to look at it again. It didn't seem like any reason why that ball should have been anywhere close to Reed Blankenship, and then it just like was right there. So I'd have to look at it again. But these guys have to come back down to earth eventually.
Yeah.
And boy, was he not on earth for most of the game.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was Halloween. I heard one of the announcers say, Halloween.
Oh my god. I liked Mark Schlereth called the game.
I just got an update, dude. I think we just traded Leonard Williams.
Wow.
I don't know. Breaking news via my dad.
2 weeks in a row, breaking news.
Oh my god. Trade Leonard Williams to the Seahawks. Dude.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't like that. Oh no. Oh no, dude. I'm about to do that. I love Big Cat, bro.
You got a second and a fifth. That's pretty good.
Really? A second and a fifth?
Yeah.
Honestly, though, with his contract, like, we were probably going to let him go anyways, so, like...
Yeah, but, like, you also have to give up on the idea that, like, you're a good team this year. So, like, if you do, it's like, I think that's pretty good value to get for him.
Yeah. Hey, that's my brother. My brother agrees. Everybody, I'm getting blown up. Breaking news via my dad. Thank you, Dan Gnitzcavich, for that nice update. Honestly, yeah, 2024 second round pick and a 2025 fifth round. I mean, like, you know what, dude? Like, we aren't. This isn't our year. And honestly, like, our depth, though, Look, I'm wearing this suit for a reason. This suit is in honor of Leonard Williams, man. It just. Listen, our depth hasn't been terrible, though. Like, our free agent signings, who are just, like, probably also contributing to it, are great. Like, Ashawn Robinson played really well. Nunez Roches played really well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fifth round pick, that's a good, if you could draft well, it's tough to draft well in that round. It's tough. The further you get out, it's a lot tougher. A lot more difficult, but it's a good depth piece there. Second round pick, you get a little player too. So I hate it because I think it makes the Giants better long term, but I think it's a good trade.
I mean, yeah, Pro Bowler. I don't think he's ever won an All Pro. He had that great season with like 11 sacks, but like, I mean, his numbers haven't been as good as they were that season where he got the big bag contract. Like, he got the big bag and he kind of like deflated a little bit.
Yeah. Smart. Listen. If I understand when athletes do that, they get the bag and they realize I don't have to try as hard. I'm set.
I mean, dude, Big Cat, good name. Leonard Will. I mean, dude, cool player. Love him. So long, man. Going to the Seahawks. I wouldn't be surprised if we still move Adoree. Brian Dable said he's not going to move Saquon, but we shall see. Anything else you want to get into for this Eagles-Commanders game? Or
no. Good win.
No.
They adjusted offensively, which was good. Yeah. Let's move on to Dallas.
All right. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Los Angeles Rams 43-20 in Dallas, and they dominated, like I said earlier, in all four phases. Offense, demolished. Their special teams did great on both sides. Returns, they got the nice blocked field goal, or blocked punt, rather. And defense was just destroyed. Like the pick six held Cooper Kupp to 21 yards. Puka Nacua, superstar Puka Nacua, to 43. Their leading receiver was Darrell Henderson, which just shows that they couldn't do anything. They had to check down to Darrell Henderson. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott played really well. He had a dumb interception too, though. And they were in the red zone when he threw that interception. I saw that, and it's like the pass was high. The guy was draped. I think it was to Schoonmaker that he tried getting the ball out to. Tipped and then intercepted by Jordan Fuller on the Rams. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, he had 4 passing touchdowns. Another game where CeeDee Lamb looks dominant. They're treating him like the number one that he is. 12 receptions, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looked great. Ferguson had a nice touchdown in there too. Brandon Cooks finally found the end zone towards the end. I mean, the Eagles just looked great. Kevontae Turpin had that 60-yard punt return or whatever, or kick return that looked like he was going to the house, and he gets out right at the end, but brings him to the red zone. Like I said, Dorrance Armstrong kind of forced that punt, but I think it was blocked by Sam Williams. Yeah. But hey, and forced the safety. That turned into a safety too, so more points on the board. Matt Stafford injured his thumb in the first half, threw a touchdown in the third quarter, and then was like, yeah, no, I can't do this. And Brett, I mean, I think they were down 17 points to it. It's like, why risk Matt Stafford at that point? The Rams now at 3-5 are still in the hunt for a playoff spot, in a wild card spot. They're not out of it.
Yeah, they'll be out. Let me say this about the Rams. The Eagles played the Rams really well this year. I give the Eagles credit. Mm-hmm. The Rams are not a good football team. It is what it is. They peaked. They surprised people early. This is who they really are. The Cowboys put a lot of points on them because that's what they do. A lot of it's just empty stats, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. They took care of business. They played well. The Rams are just not a good football team.
Hey, that's fair, man. I mean, if you can't get the ball to your 2 superstars, only 4 receptions for Kupp, 3 for Puka.
Right.
I mean, that's where you're going to make some moves, especially when you're down so bad. You should be getting the ball off more. But yeah, just an atrocious game for these Rams. And the Cowboys, like you said, just looked great.
We've seen this too before. The Cowboys look great against a team and then get shellaxed, against the 49ers or whatever. So it's interesting. I think it's interesting. We've seen this before with them.
Yeah.
And they'll have a big test on Sunday too.
Please tell me that's a Sunday Night Football game, because I really hope it is.
Yeah, well, it's definitely. I think it's 4:15. No, they might.
We're not in flex territory yet, but I mean, let's be real. That's the game.
It's a 4:25 game.
4:25. All right.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. But yeah, dude, Deron Bland now has 3 pick sixes on the year.
Yeah.
And it's just killing it. That's more touchdowns than I think Devontae Smith has, huh? I don't know. Maybe not.
Oh, I saw that yesterday. I think they're tied now.
They're tied now?
Yeah. I mean, interesting stat. He's played well.
Yeah.
Pick sixes, again, it's a weird stat because, it's kind of about, opportunity. And, it depends on, if he gets a pick out wide, there's probably not going to be anybody in front of him. But, yeah, he's gotten turnovers for them. He's looked like a good corner, which is not great for us. But we'll see.
And that's the thing, too, is, Trayvon Diggs is out. They said that they want to trade for, Jalen Johnson. But why would you trade for Jalen Johnson? Unless, you're going to move on from Gilmore next year? I mean, he is getting older, but he's been playing well.
Yeah, so maybe.
I just don't see – I mean, those rumors I don't really get. Maybe I understand trading for, a depth, a middle corner, but, not – I wouldn't –
I don't think it hurts to have more. Yeah. Maybe brace for injury, too, to just have more depth on depth.
But, yeah, great game by the Cowboys. I mean, a game that I think everybody had them winning regardless, but to have such a dominant performance like that,
Yeah.
You have to give them some respect. But, yeah, like we said, they have a very intriguing matchup coming up. I think, Micah Parsons just had that 1 sack. I don't know why I thought that. Was that a strip sack? Do you remember? Let me pull this up.
I didn't watch much of that game. Got to be perfectly honest.
No, that's I watched like the 15-minute highlights. No, it was a strip sack. Yeah, which honestly, dude, like I said, it was. I was focused on the Giants game the entire time, and probably the least exciting. But you got to root for the team. I don't know. Moving forward, though, it's like I've seen a lot of people saying they're giving up. They have better things to do.
Oh yeah, if you're a Giants fan, you have to root for losses. I would think
I think competitive losses, yeah, but I competitive losses because I don't want to lose the team either. Like I want to see you guys play hard.
It's a tough balance there, though. So yeah, I can understand that in a perfect world, sure.
Yeah, it's just you don't want to lose this team and like trade it, dude. Dexter Lawrence, man, he's gonna be so sad losing his buddy Leo, dude. Like Leo said he didn't want to get traded, But I don't think like.
Well, I'm on NFL's Twitter right now, and apparently he's leaving too.
No, he's not. There's no way in hell we're trading one of our cornerstones because I don't think that like I don't think Joe Shane or Brian Dable think this is like a sell everybody. Like, I mean, we were a playoff team last year. We were a playoff team last year. We've had some miserable, terrible injuries to our O-line this year. Our defense is coming together. Our defense is coming together. The thing is,
I would like to note.
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt.
Yeah.
The Eagles were down to their third string guard in Tyler Steen. Roll Tide.
Okay.
He led a 2-minute drill for a touchdown in the end of the first half. The Giants need to do a better job of finding they make it so hard on themselves with the line. I get they've been injured. The Eagles haven't been the same with running the ball without Cam Jurgens. They put in Opeta. He does well.
Yeah.
They lose Opeta to the backup. They put in Tyler Steen, the third guard. He does well.
Well, wasn't Tyler Steen – was he a draft pick for you guys this year, right?
He was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, but you were also missing your starting center, your right tackle, and your left tackle. So – I'm just
your right tackle, Evan Neal.
Yeah, well, honestly, Tyree Phillips has been playing better than him. Who we let go when we had no depth at the offensive tackle position either. That's why we had
Phillips.
Yeah, who we took off your practice squad.
You stole him from us. I know. I liked him.
He was on our team last year, and he played better than Evan Neal when he replaced Evan Neal to injury last year. So I don't know why you let him walk. He has a middling preseason, but you know what he can do.
Yeah, brutal.
It's preseason,
I know,
man. That's why they gave up on Cordell Flott in the preseason too, and then Cordell Flott ends up being actually he played over Trey Hawkins yesterday, and he had 2 nice pass breakups too. I mean, I don't know. It's just
I wish the Eagles kept Phillips over Jack Driscoll. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, it's
alas.
Yeah, going to the Cowboys too, though. I mean, they're also probably looking not just for cornerback. I think more so is probably offensive line help. Tyron Smith ruled out before the Rams game, and I mean, dude, Tyron Smith, I feel is always just duct taped together, anyways. So it's if you really think you're making a run, you probably try to trade for some depth, whatever you can.
You would think so. He's not even that old. He's 32, which in tackle years, I think it's definitely close to the end, but still, he's been just so injured throughout his career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. You see Trent Williams playing up there. You saw Dwayne Brown, right? Dwayne Brown, I think, was playing until he was 39. Jason Peters, I think, is 39, right? He's still playing somewhere.
But they're not playing. Yeah, they're not playing. Those guys just have love of the game clause. Yeah, with Dwayne Brown, Jason Peters. You can play if you're 37, 38. It's not going to be good football, but around 35, 36 for tackles. I think that's basically whatever last juice you can squeeze out. That's what you take.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else you want to get into with this Cowboys game?
I don't think so. It's impressive in some ways. We'll see how they respond to that kind of game going forward.
Yeah. Well, with San Francisco losing 3 in a row,
love that.
You guys have a pretty because you guys only one loss. You're in sole position of first place in the NFC. Best record in the NFL.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, congrats, dude. It's kind of crazy that at this point last year that was the Giants' record. We were 5-2.
Yeah. A lot's changed. I mean, you can answer it more, but to me, it seems like Dable's just well. Last year he coached really well, and this year he's coaching really badly.
Yeah,
they're in, but like it seems like the coaching, like it's just been like he's been a shell of himself from last year. That might be putting it like nicely.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Brian Dable, I saw somebody say, fired all the coaches. I was like, no, dude, no. Brian Dable just won Coach of the Year. I still have faith in Brian Dable. Mike Kafka, who was getting like head coaching interviews last year, I don't think he's in jeopardy of that. Wink Martindale is by far the best coach. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be losing Mike Kafka, but maybe we should get rid of him. I mean, whoop-de-doo, you planned a successful, reverse with Wandale Robinson. Yay.
Would you rather start Mike Kafka next, assuming like all the guys are hurt, like Daniel Jones is still hurt and Tyrod Taylor's hurt. Would you rather start Tommy DeVito or Mike Kafka? Mike Kafka right now.
Mike Kafka right now.
At quarterback.
The offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka.
Correct.
I'd probably put him in there, man. I would.
Well, he used to be a quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely like in his 30s. He's young.
Yeah, 36.
Yeah. Hey, dude, he can still do it. No, but honestly, like Tommy DeVito should not be on the roster. I think that should be like one of the first moves. I hope before we traded Leonard Williams, we like.
Well, I
mean, I don't even know.
He was the backup too. This year in the NFL, you can have 3 NFL guys suit up at quarterback.
That's what I'm saying.
Backup. He wasn't even the third quarterback.
Dude, it just doesn't make any. Dude, there's still a lot of quarterbacks out there that are sufficient that can have trust in. Like, I mean, between Mike the Neck Glennon and Jake Fromm and Tommy DeVito, like, dude, like,
you guys
out, man. Oh my, like Tyrod is great, dude, but he gets injured left and right, dude. He went down, I was like, okay, that's the game. But but no, I actually still had faith because our defense was playing that well.
I swear,
was playing that well.
When they went up 10-7, I thought that was a game. I thought there's no chance the Jets scored anymore.
Brian Dable. That's all.
And I think the Giants might even get. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, dude, like, I get it. He didn't want to turn the ball over. He was just like he was playing chess, and he just kept running it with Saquon because he didn't want to put the ball in jeopardy with Tommy DeVito. And honestly, like, who would have thought that the Jets would have come back with 1 minute? But asking him to finally throw the ball once we're in overtime, and he still can't even throw it down the field. -1 pass, like, oh my, it's just, oh my, like in watching the highlights of the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Commanders too. I am just so jealous of being able to watch like good legendary football, good receiving, good offense. Like, dude, like, we haven't seen. That's what preseason. That's what looked the best by us. We looked unbeatable. I hope Daniel Jones comes back this week against the Raiders, which I believe he will. Cleared for contact. Get Tommy DeVito off of there if Tyrod can't play. Get somebody else as a backup, please. Please make a move somewhere. I don't care if we're tanking. Like, for the Giants fans like me that still want to watch the entire game because they enjoy rooting for the Giants in whatever fashion, even if I'm just rooting for the defense to play well, which it was fun, actually, watching our defense do well. It was fun, but I digress.
Good. All right, let's get into the matchups.
Let's get into the matchups for next week. Let's see here. We have the first game is what do you want to start with? Do you want to do actually the first game is the Commanders. So the Commanders play the Patriots in New England at noon. The Patriots, who have been up and down, played pretty well opening game against the Eagles. Beat the Bills, played amazing against the Bills. And, actually we're, like, competitive with the Dolphins. And, like, they were kind of in there throughout the game.
Yeah.
Let me just... Sorry, I thought that was a coyote, but it was an ambulance. Halloween's coming around the corner. Yeah, but they did. I mean, they still lost. I mean, Mac Jones, dude, is like. I know you're a Bama boy. Do you believe in Mac Jones? Like
he needs a lot of talent around him to be successful in the NFL. Now, I'll say this: they've done an awful job of like putting an average offense around him. He's definitely limited. He's not going to play well when there isn't enough talent around him. There certainly isn't enough, but he's also never going to like bring up an offense that's just so low down.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw. I just spilled a bunch of coffee. That was terrible. But yeah, I mean, dude, like I'm just looking up these. Like their leading receiver was Kendrick Bourne with 36 yards. Against the Dolphins, and he also just tore his ACL, I believe. So down another weapon.
Wow.
I mean, who is he going to be throwing to? Everybody's like hype about Pharaoh Brown. I saw, but like Pharaoh Brown, Hunter, like. I mean, they have all these just like no name. Oh, Jalen Reagor. I didn't realize Jalen Reagor is also on the Patriots now.
Rock bottom, let me tell you.
I mean, it's just like a bunch of very mid players that like are also kind of like out of their prime. Juju Smith-Schuster, like Devontae Parker, exciting names 4 years ago, and now they're just and not to mention, dude, they cannot run the ball. Like Ramondre Stevenson has had a very disappointing season. Like
Zeke hasn't given that much either. Stevenson's been bad.
So honestly, I feel like this is a game that the Commanders win.
Okay.
I think let's see if Sam Howell can string along another great performance. I know that the Patriots have a lot of injuries on defense too. I mean, they lost Christian Gonzalez early, who is their rookie corner, who is playing phenomenal. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to say the Commanders win. I don't know if Mac Jones is going to play well against this, this abysmal Commanders secondary, but also I just don't trust his weapons either. And I think if they don't trade Montez Sweat or Chase Young, if they can get to him too, I could see this being a Commanders 24, Patriots 10. That's what I'm going to go. I'm really I got some faith in the Commanders this week against this Patriots team. And after playing good against the Eagles, I feel like they might be able to string along another victory here. What do you think?
Yeah, they certainly haven't done that though with Washington. They played the Eagles well. Then other teams, they've just wet the bed completely. New England's going to win. It's in New England. Their defense is still very good, and they have a great defensive mind in Bill Belichick. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be 16-13 Pats win. I have to see Washington sustain good play for maybe 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And if they do this with this one, good for, we'll see going forward. But I just think with and also Riverboat Ron, he's a decent head coach. In game though, he is just awful at managing timeouts, challenges, etc. So I think that could maybe bite them. It's going to be an ugly game. Not many points. 29 points I have them scoring with both teams might even be a lot. So, but I'll say 16-13 New England.
Okay. Bold predictions here. I'm going with Sam Howell has another 350-yard passing game.
Wow. So that's going to be really interesting with mine because mine's going to be bold.
Yeah.
You have him for 350 passing.
Yeah.
I have both quarterbacks combined under 370 yards.
Okay.
Okay. I want to say 350, but that could be a little low. But I'll say 350 to 370, both quarterbacks combined on passing yards.
Let's see. I wonder if they'll play Emmanuel Forbes a little bit more this game, especially with like a weak receiving core. Yeah, I know that they played him a little bit, but I feel like he wasn't.
A great game against AJ Brown, but most don't.
Yes, that is fair. I mean, dude, that catch too. We didn't even talk about that catch, man. I saw you post a picture of it.
Oh, that one. Okay.
The one-handed touchdown catch, dude. I mean, that was like.
Both of his touchdown catches were wild. I mean, they were in traffic, but yeah, he's fun. I like him.
All right. So also, I think that I don't know. I want to say the Commanders might have one of their better defensive outings against a weak Patriots offense, but I mean, dude, Mac Jones, he's just. I have people making jokes that at least he's not the worst Jones in the NFL. Dude, I'm taking Daniel Jones over Mac Jones any day right now. I mean, we'll see how he looks coming back from the Raiders.
Daniel Jones's ability to move and be mobile, probably, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, he has eliminated a lot of his boneheaded mistakes. But yeah, moving on to the next game, which is the Giants in Las Vegas at 3:25. The Raiders are playing tonight, so by the time this is out, they will probably have lost to the Lions. I'm hoping, but who knows? Who knows? The Lions just got shut out by the Ravens their last game. But the Raiders barely beat a struggling Patriots team, barely beat a struggling Packers team, and got blown out by the Bears with Tyson Bagent. Also was blown out by the Bills too. To start things off, and then barely beat a terrible Broncos team and only put up 17 points on a Broncos defense that has been abysmal as well. So, and honestly, this is another thing. We're predicting this game with the trade deadline coming up. I feel like the Raiders are going to be sellers at this trade deadline. I know that they said that they're not trading Davante Adams,
possibly,
but
but who would they sell? I mean, I guess you could trade anybody, but they don't really have a lot of players. So, I don't know, Jacoby Myers.
Maybe Jacoby Myers. Maybe Hunter Renfrow for somebody who wants another depth piece.
True.
Not that that's going to change the shape of the game if they don't have Hunter Renfrow against the Giants.
Right.
But I see this as a game where the Giants continue to be dominant. I'm curious if we have a Dory Jackson, if he's the one that follows Davante Adams, or if they're just going to keep on throwing Deontay Banks to the fire, because it doesn't seem like he's getting discouraged with his play against, and he's been playing well. He did let up 100 yards to Garrett Wilson. Those are some chunk plays at the end too that led to those stats. He was covering him pretty well throughout the game. We shall see. But I think I'm hoping Andrew Thomas gets back. I don't know the status of Darren Waller at this time. Like I said, Daniel Jones should be back. I see the Giants pulling this out, and I think that the Giants defense continues to be dominant. So I am going to go Giants 17, Raiders 10.
The fact that I have to pick a winner between these teams is a little disappointing. The Raiders are just so bad. I mean, there's nothing intriguing about them.
Yeah.
And then watch them pull out a win tonight against the Lions, and then just everything topsy-turvy.
Yeah.
The Raiders are just so bad. But with the Giants quarterbacks and just with everything going on in their offense, I just don't know.
I mean, Max Crosby too, just talking about this, Max Crosby is still one of the best pass rushers in the league. So hopefully we get Andrew Thomas back. But if not, I mean, I'm pretty sure they move him around. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hope Tyree Phillips stays at right tackle. I think with this season almost lost and Evan Neal struggles, I mean, Evan Neal was a great guard at Alabama too. I think that now is the time.
He was a great tackle.
He was a great tackle too, yeah. But he was originally a great, he has that versatility. Maybe it's time to just try him out at guard. I don't know.
Yeah.
We definitely need to at some point this season to see what we have in Evan Neal.
Yeah, I'll say Giants win. 17-16.
All right. I'm also going to go here.
Ugly game.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for giving us the play there. Sorry. I think bold predictions I'm going with. I think Kayvon Thibodeau. So I didn't mention this earlier, but Kayvon Thibodeau there's this huge W fan controversy this week where somebody tearing. I don't even know. I
heard.
Talk right, but they were trashing Kayvon Thibodeau, Carl Banks, Giants legendary, not Hall of Fame, but should have been linebacker. Defends Kayvon Thibodeau. They hang up on him in a fit of rage, and Kayvon responded with like I said, his best game as a Giant by far. I think that the Raiders O-line still is still bottom tier. I think that Kayvon Thibodeau has another one of his games. He's on pace right now to have 18 sacks in the season, and he has 8.5 right now. I'm seeing another 2-sack game for Kayvon Thibodeau.
Okay. I really love the idea of the quarterback combined going under on passing yards. I don't know who it's going to be though for each. If it's who's
in line to start tonight? Is Jimmy G back?
O'Connell.
Is it O'Connell?
I think so, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Let's see. Saquon Barkley over 100 yards on the ground, and he'll have both of the touchdowns. I have the Giants scoring in 17 points. They'll have 2 touchdowns to the field goal. It'll work out in that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing too. Is like who's going to be our field goal kicker? Because I gave us 17 points too, but like,
yeah, you'll find. I mean, you'll find someone. You'll be able to determine how
We'll see.
Now, basically, Saquon will have over 100 on the ground. It'll have 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Okay.
Both of the touchdowns.
All right. I like it. I think that's all we really need to say there. I mean, it's like, let's be real. I mean, this is.
Yeah. You got to play the game because it's on the schedule, but let's be real.
And I will tell you this, too. I will be watching that game. I don't care who's at my house and what games they want to watch. It will be on the big screen. I am going to be.
Oh, that's not. What if a good game is on at that time?
What good game? Are you talking about maybe the Cowboys-Eagles game that people might want to watch a little more than the Giants-Raiders?
Well, now that you mentioned it.
I think it's time to transit. To be fair, Coral, my lovely lady, she wanted her Packers to be on and be coin flipped, and I was like, I am not. Like, the Packers
well, let me tell you,
just as miserable.
Between both of your teams, I mean, Giants and Packers, it doesn't get much worse than that. My goodness.
Oh, yeah.
They are bad.
But let's go to the other game that is also in the middle slate at the same time.
Yep.
The Cowboys travel to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. And what should be probably the best matchup of the week, I would say. I mean,
I think so.
2 of the top NFC teams, 2 of the top teams in the NFL.
Yep.
Cowboys have tried for the second best record in the NFL with like 6 AFC teams. And I think the Seahawks and the Lions at this point. But let's see. I think I think we're going to see if the Eagles defense can step up against the Cowboys offense that has been cooking. And you guys allowed 400 passing yards to Sam Howell.
Mm-hmm. Hall of Fame Sam Howell.
Hall of Fame Sam Howell. The Cowboys defense did look pretty dominant against a Rams offense that like has playmakers that can produce a good offensive performance. I think that A.J. Brown continues to break records, though, and I see him going off for another 125 at least this week. So that's a bold prediction. Okay. And I think I predicted last week that A.J. Brown would have that 125 and Devonta would have 100. Devonta had to get 99.
I think you're right because I was thinking the same thing, and then I think I switched it. If I'm thinking like,
But I'm going to A.J. Brown, another 125. But I'm also going CeeDee Lamb. Like, I mean, you guys let up almost 100 yards to Jamison Crowder and over 100 yards to Jahan Dotson, who hasn't done anything this season. Both slot guys.
Both potential Hall of Famers.
Yeah, both great ones. I see CeeDee Lamb also getting over 125 yards receiving. But I think this is going to be a close game. And I think it's also going to be higher scoring than even with 2 great defenses. I'm going to go Eagles 27, Cowboys 24.
Oh, you took my score, kind of.
Man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what the Eagles do. I think if they game plan like they did against the Dolphins at home against freaks like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and even Mostert, who was having, who was great on the ground, and Tua.
Mm-hmm.
If they game plan like that for a game like this, for a big game as well, I think the Eagles will see a lot of success. We'll see if they're able to do something like that and really focus it on them like they did with the Dolphins in Washington. I think they just didn't care enough, which is not great. Bold predictions. Hassan Reddick, 2 sacks.
All right.
One of the sacks will be a timely one towards the end of the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
That goes together. And the Eagles will have no, because I don't know with Jalen's knee. The Eagles will have 3 guys over 65 yards in receiving on the day. I'll say AJ Brown, Devontae, and Goddard.
Ooh, I was really hoping you said Julio Jones.
I do too. Listen, I almost changed it to Julio as well. I would love that too.
I want to see Julio go off against the Cowboys. I would love that, man.
Yes.
Love that.
Eagles win 26-23.
26-23. All right. Oh, pretty close. Pretty close. You're literally, was that always going to be it, or did you change it because mine was 27?
No, I like the Eagles 27 number, and for Dallas I had them around 24-23. Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. I think that's fair. We got some good matchups coming up next week. I'm not gonna lie, like the Washington Patriots, like that's not a fun one, and I'm so sorry for Giants fans having to play the Giants Raiders. But I mean, I think those are both winnable games by the Commanders and the Giants. Hopefully next week I won't be wearing another suit dress for the Giants funeral, but let's be real.
We'll see.
Even with a win next week, it doesn't really change how I feel about this season, unfortunately. All right. Well, that was a great week recapping a phenomenal, just a really entertaining week 8.
Yes.
And, I'm looking forward to week 9. Well, I will see you guys next week. Again, we are the Beasts of the NFC East. As always, Jeremy Goode, thank you so much for your time. And I'm Sean Gnitzcavich.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Go Giants.